Sony. What are you doing?
Moto dork.
Bad news. It looks like Spider-Man may be out of the MCU. And for those of you who don't know, years and years and years ago, we're talking decades, Marvel had really no aspirations for making movies out of their characters. But, you know, Hollywood studios out there, some Hollywood studios did. So Marvel sold the film rights to many of their characters. You know, in a massive blunder of not being forward thinking. But, you know, they were making money hand over fist on comics, and they weren't in the business of making movies back then. So, you know, it kind of makes sense. It kind of makes sense. And I guess I really can't slight them for it. But now, computer technology has caught up to the movie making industry, and it's just so easy to make fantastic comic book based films. Utterly fantastic films that rival the comic books, that rival the fantasy and the wow factor of a comic book. So, you know, now we have Marvel Studios, which makes Marvel comic movies. Well, one of these characters, which includes this entire character's world, was Spider-Man. You know, Spider-Man was traded around among various studios until Sony got hold of it, and you know, Sam Raimi made Spider-Man, which I think came out in '99, if I'm not mistaken. You know, we can all admit, we can all agree that the comic book movie industry was kick-started by Batman, 1989's Batman. But you know, Sam Raimi's Spider-Man, you know, aided with the use of computers to make it really look like he was slinging webs, and really look like he was, you know, swinging through New York City. It really kick-started that whole genre. But as those movies went on, they seemed to get worse and worse, because it just felt like they weren't really paying attention to the stories. And if you ask me, and this is just my opinion, I think the biggest gripe that most fans of the movies have is a lack of concern for the character and the character's history. And canon mainly. You know, those movies, they just didn't follow, you know. It was basically Sam Raimi's web slinger in the style of Spider-Man. I mean, if you want to get down to brass tacks, that's what it was. Anyway, something magical happened though a few years ago. Marvel Studios and Sony came to an agreement. Sony let Marvel Studios put Spider-Man into their MCU. And then Marvel let Sony make the movie. And they shared. And it was good. If you want me to get biblical, it was good. In fact, it was fantastic. Spider-Man Homecoming, Spider-Man Far From Home especially, have made tons of money. More money than the other Spider-Man movies made. I mean, and Tom Holland is just kicking ass in the title role, and the character was just amazing in Civil War, Avengers Infinity War, Avengers Endgame. It's just so good. It was just so good. So basically what has happened though in the last couple of days, or last few days, is Sony and Marvel entered into new talks about the character, because there is a whole lot of money being made by the character now, and Marvel, I guess I should just say Disney, because it was Disney and Marvel, they wanted to change the terms to 50-50. Each movie house invests 50% into the character, into the films. And then they also split the profits 50-50. And Kevin Feige gets more creative control over the films. And Sony said, no, we don't like that. We're out. In one of the most bonehead moves ever, Sony pulls out. And I don't understand. I don't understand. And what are they thinking? So now, because of that, Spider-Man could be out of the MCU for good. Now, the talks aren't over, as I understand it. They could be, they could continue, and we could still end up with a happy story here. But let's just be honest. Let's just be honest. If Spider-Man gets pulled out of the MCU and isn't there anymore, there are a lot of people who won't watch them, because it's not just Spider-Man MCU. It's the bonds that have been written into these stories, these several films, these 5 films so far that Spider-Man has been in the MCU. I mean, there have been some close bonds written into these characters, between these characters, Spider-Man, between Tony Stark, between Happy, between Spider-Man's mother and Happy. It's you know, you've interwoven this now. I mean, and not just those characters, other characters as well. I mean, you're just gonna pull that apart. You're gonna lose viewers. It's not gonna be pretty. I mean, they're happy with the money they're making now. They won't make this kind of money. I will guarantee it. They won't make this kind of money if this happens. It's a gigantic mistake on Sony's part. And some people are saying this is Disney's fault. I don't think so. Disney owns the property. Sony owns the film rights. Disney owns the property. They own the character. I don't see any problem with a 50-50 split. I think that's perfectly fair. I don't see any problem with Kevin Feige getting more creative control. I mean, he's the head of Marvel Cinematic Universe, Marvel Studios. Marvel owns Spider-Man. Why shouldn't he have creative control? Why shouldn't he? I got nothing to say bad about him so far. He's knocking him out of the park every single movie. I feel like I'm just rambling. I'm gonna shut up. I don't know. Tell me what you think. You know, to my 45 subscribers. Tell me what you think if you're watching this. What do you think about it? I mean, I'll listen. I'll read what you say if you want to comment. Or you can email me at themotodork@gmail.com. I got an email. Or you can go on to my Instagram. I've got an Instagram now. It's the_moto_dork. That's my Instagram. I know that's a lot to type. And if you like this video, and you know you don't mind that I'm a dork, subscribe to it, and even maybe Hulk smash that bell, because I could use the company. I'll be honest. All right, later.